Ladies and gentlemen, from the A&B Arena here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, the city recognized as one of the world's greatest venues for sports and entertainment. And with that, special thanks, ladies and gentlemen, to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman. And the chairman of both the General Entertainment Authority and the Saudi Boxing Federation, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. This is the presentation by Esports World Cup and the General Entertainment Authority, with Frank Warren for Queensberry Promotions, Eddie Hearn for Matchroom Boxing, Spencer Brown for Gold Star Promotions, the Bible of Boxing, Ring Magazine, and Sella. Sponsored by STC, Qiddiya, SNB, Arena Fitness Innovation, and Mike Tyson Boxing Club. On the line, 3 championship titles in this 10-round contest. The WBO Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, the WBA International Heavyweight Championship, and the vacant Commonwealth Heavyweight Championship. Sanctioned by the rules and regulations of the Saudi Boxing Commission, President Jose Mohan. At ringside, the 3 judges scoring. From Belgium, Michel Maxuida. From Italy, Antonio Marona. From Puerto Rico, Jose Roberto Torres. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, your referee from Sweden, Mikael Hug. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the officials are in place and they are ready. The fighters are in the ring and they are ready. So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black with blue, official weight 244 and 1/2 pounds. His professional record stands at 34 fights, 31 victories, including 21 big wins by knockout, with only 3 defeats. He is the fighting heavyweight pride of Brixton, London, England, the former 2-time WBC interim heavyweight world champion, the body snatcher, Dillian Whyte. And across the ring, his opponent fighting out of the red corner, wearing black, and officially weighing in at 245 and 1/2 pounds. His professional record is a perfect one. 12 fights, 12 victories, 10 big wins by knockout. From Chatham, Kent, England, he is the reigning and defending Intercontinental International Champion, the undefeated Moses Itauma.
So you're listening to Big Time Heavyweight Boxing on BBC 5 Live, 5 Sports Extra and BBC Sounds. Dillian Whyte makes his way to center ring, awaiting the arrival of the undefeated prospect, Moses Itauma. Referee Mikael Hug poised to give the final instructions.
Protect yourself all the time. And I say stop and break, no punches. Stop and break, no punches. Touch gloves and good luck.
Well, Mikael Hug with the final instructions. Moses Itauma not returning the gaze of Dillian Whyte as he returns to the red corner. Just some petroleum jelly applied to his eyebrows. Dillian Whyte has seen it all before as we await the opening bell in this classic heavyweight encounter between youth and experience. Which one of those qualities will prevail in this heavyweight contest scheduled for 10 3-minute rounds? We are underway. Moses Itauma, the undefeated heavyweight sensation, just 20 years of age, from Chatham in Kent, actually born in Slovakia, brings to the ring a perfect record of 12 fights, and he lands a solid southpaw jab immediately. Dillian Whyte, 37 years of age, man who was challenged for the world heavyweight title operating out of the orthodox stance, has already been put on the end of a sharp right jab. Just a half-inch height advantage for Moses Itauma. Dillian Whyte comes forward behind a double jab. He's wearing black trunks trimmed with blue. Moses Itauma in solid black trunks, black boots and black gloves, giving him a passing sartorial resemblance to the man to whom he is so often compared in terms of his age and precocious, prodigious talent, and that is Michael Gerard Tyson out of Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York. Minute gone, both men in the center of the boxing ring. Double jab, left hook attempted out of the southpaw stance by Itauma, but tucking up nicely and moving the head at the waist is Dillian Whyte. He takes a roundhouse right, half jab, half hook there, and a left hand to the body from Itauma. And again, he uses that southpaw stance to present such good angles, and his footwork and his balance have been so impressive at the level he's boxed at in his 12 wins to date, that he often presents punches that the opponent doesn't see coming. Forward foray from Moses Itauma. Good left cross to the body landed by Itauma, and then a left cross right hook combination out of the southpaw stance. A left cross catches Dillian Whyte on the rear of his shaved head. Another one catches him on the rear of his head. His balance is gone. He's pinned in the blue corner, and Moses Itauma is opening up, teeing off to both head and body, and Dillian Whyte's balance has completely betrayed him. He's on the ropes. It's the ropes that's holding him up. He touches sideways to his right. Itauma going about his job. Left hook, left cross, right hook sends Dillian Whyte to the canvas with 1 minute 7 seconds remaining in the opening round, and he gets back to his feet only to tumble into the neutral corner turnbuckle, and this contest over in a blink. Moses Itauma, in the biggest test of his career to date, has made the step up on paper into an absolute cakewalk. In the biggest challenge of his pro career, he has registered his 8th first-round stoppage and has blown away the body snatcher with a first-round knockout. Moses Itauma, just a moment of silent introspection as he takes the knee near the neutral corner turnbuckle, receives a congratulatory hug from his coach Ben Davison, who didn't even get the opportunity to issue instructions in between rounds 1 and 2, because it is yet another first-round stoppage secured by Moses Itauma, who remains as cool and composed and calm as can possibly be. Hall of Fame promoter Frank Warren, with words of congratulations into his ear, and now back in that red corner on the far side of the ring, the celebrations beginning in earnest. Barry Smith giving him a hug, but that was a blistering performance from Moses Itauma, who has announced his arrival on the next level of heavyweight boxing.
Incredible performance here from Itauma. We're just seeing the slow motion going through the gears. His punches are very accurate. He's switching the attack downstairs with the right hook here and there. Steve, I was really impressed with that. What do you think about it?
You know what, Rich? There was a point there when he catches Dillian, and then he still takes a pause. He's got a man on the ropes hurt. He's got him absolutely staggering, and he still takes a second to pick his shot. And the final shot, he actually moves himself back slightly, Rich, to find room for the short right hook. I know Dillian's complaining, and he's going to carry on complaining. But Richie, in your wildest dreams, did you see it being a blowout like that in about 2 minutes?
No, I didn't see. But I also didn't see a fight where it was going to be a toe-to-toe battle. I thought Moses Itauma would have been stretched a little bit more. It would have gone past probably 5 or 6 rounds. But his accuracy there, the first shot is probably a high shot on the back, sort of on the top of the head, that obviously wobbles.
And that was always going to be the danger with Dillian, I think. Always going to be the danger.
But all of a sudden, then he just switches the attack with the right hooks to the body, especially, which were crushing punches. They really were heavy shots downstairs. He's got so much speed and accuracy, and that's the quality in his technique, you see. So yes, I said beforehand we'd find out whether he was in another league and how special he was. Now we know, because that was on paper probably a difficult fight to come through for Moses Itauma, and look how he's dealt with Dillian Whyte, who's fought for the world title, only been beaten 3 times times against world champions. That was a quality performance. You can't but only be impressed with it. Tremendous.
And Dillian is still complaining, and that's I'd expect him to complain long in tonight. He did after Tyson Fury knocked him out. But watching that replay and just reliving it, you know, it's happened 18 feet in front of me. When he goes down, Rich, he's in a desperate position.
He's in a desperate position.
He's gone. When he goes down, he's gone.
Yeah, and also, Steve, we always knew, didn't we? We spoke about this before. It was going to be a case if Dillian Whyte can get through the first 4 or 5 rounds and drag Moses Itauma into the later rounds, that was always going to be the challenge for him. But none of us could have envisaged Moses Itauma the way he started there. His accuracy, his power, his speed, and he did it behind good boxing technique.
Yeah.
He just didn't walk in there and blast away. He set it up with his jab. He picked his punches. That was quality.
And I think what's going to happen is we're going to forget the build up to the end, and we're just going to concentrate on Dillian going down face first from that final southpaw right hook, when really we should look, as you've been talking about, and as Eddie Hearn was talking about not 5 minutes before the knockout, look at the feet, look at the poise, look at the composure. This is a 20-year-old kid. He felt slightly, you could tell Moses wasn't happy with that 7 or 8 or 9 minute wait he had in the ring. But once he'd hurt Dillian, there was no panic, no urgency.
No.
He was adjusting his feet. Dillian raised both hands really high, which is a sensible defence, and Moses instantly slipped to the body. Beautiful crunching right hook. Let's go to Michael Buffer. Let's get Michael Buffer's final commencement.
59 seconds of the very first round. The winner by knockout victory. His record now still perfect. 13 fights. 13 victories, 11 wins by knockout. He is still the Intercontinental and International champion, along with the new Commonwealth title. He is Moses Itauma!
So Moses Itauma passes his acid test against former world title challenger Dillian Whyte, blasting out the veteran with a veritable punch-perfect performance, stopping him in the opening round, and he's now bedecked in baubles, a WBO Intercontinental title, WBA International title, and the Commonwealth strap as well. Those belts get him into the rankings of the sanctioning bodies, and remember, he's the WBO #1. Will a challenge for the world heavyweight title be next in the event that the championships are broken up? Steve, it's back to you. What a display from Moses Itauma.
Moses Itauma, Ronald, and Dillian Whyte's just given me a look and a shrug. You know, I didn't want to stick the microphone under his face, but he gave me a shrug. He gave me a look, and the look was one of those looks. It was like, how have they done that to me? Why have they done that to me? I might just try and grab a word of him now, as I'm just walking behind him now, because I can tell from the way. No, he's running away, Ron. He's running away. Could tell from the way he was that he feels. Buddy McGirt, his trainer, Buddy, Steve Bunn's 5 Live. Dillian is saying he was okay to continue, yeah?
Well, you know, he says he's okay, but when he got up, he was a little wobbly.
Yeah.
You know,
that's all that matters.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, you know, the referee figured he wasn't, so, you know, but Dill's like, I'm okay, but by him staggering when he got up, the referee was like, no.
Buddy, that's really honest. Were you surprised at the speed of Moses Itauma?
I knew the kid had speed. I mean, everyone told me he's athletic. I seen, you know, the clips of his knockouts. I knew he was fast. I knew, you know, he could punch. You know what I mean? I'm not crazy, you know what I mean?
Buddy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Buddy McGirt there, and I think that was a real honest summary there, that at that point when he got up, at that actual point as he gets up, he is unsteady. He might be okay 5 seconds later, but at that point, he can't continue under any circumstances. I'm trying to get a little bit closer here, because there's an awful lot of people floating around. I'm trying to grab hold of, if I can, 1 or 2 people. Frank Warren's up in the ring, obviously, and let me have a look over here, and let's see I'm trying to see if I can just grab hold of Big Joseph Parker's here. Let me see if I can get Joseph Parker, the leading contender for the heavyweight title. Ronald, there's a bit of a melee here. Derek Del Boichezora's in front of me. Joe Parker's in front of me. They're just doing one interview. Once they're finished, I'll have a chat with them. There seems to be, Ronald and Richie, here at ringside, quite a stunned atmosphere. I think people are not sure what they've just witnessed in such a short space of time. Everyone seems a bit shocked by it, a bit shell-shocked by it, to be perfectly honest with you. I know Dillian Whyte was great. I think that's really great. I'm going to reiterate again how good it was that Buddy McGirt was honest enough to say that when he got to his feet, he was still wobbling, he was still shaking, and that perfectly, and that perfectly sums up what happens and how brutal this business can be. 3 seconds later, he was okay. But at that point, and that's why I think the referee did exactly the right thing. I really believe he did the right thing.
And Buddy McGirt knows the game inside out, Steve.
Absolutely,
two-weight world champion as a boxer himself, inductee into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. A really honest assessment, and as we always say, better 1 second too early than 1 second too late. And some of those shots during that whirlwind from Moses Itauma, as Dillian was seeking to bob and weave, may have grazed Dillian on the back of the head, taking him into rabbit punch territory. Perhaps that is the foundation of some of his complaints. But Richie, you were pointing out some of Dillian's most impressive victories, the 2 wins over Derek Chisora in those absolute firefights. Lucas Brown and Joseph Parker, but they were in the previous decade, but Moses has done his job. What a display.
Richie, hold on 1 second, Rich. I'm up in the ring. I've got Ben Davison with me, Moses' trainer. Ben, relief, smiles on your face. Clinical finish from Moses. Not just a knockdown, some of the shots on those ropes.
Yeah, I mean, Dillian Whyte's like I say, he's a British boxing legend, so, you know, a massive statement and a massive opportunity there for Moses, and we're really grateful for the opportunity from Dillian. Is the pros. The cons are we're still trying to get the rounds that we've been after for so long, so, you know, I've seen it in the gym. It'd be nice for him to experience it and, you know, get the rounds for the experience, but nonetheless, you can't complain.
You certainly can't complain, and as the old expression goes, you don't get paid for overtime. How important would it be going forward, assuming there was some bigger fights out there, for you to get the rounds first, Ben? I know you've seen it in the gym, and one or two of us have also been privileged to see it. But is it crucial? So we're trying to find a negative. We're classic British, aren't we? Is it crucial that he does get the rounds?
I would say it would be nice, but I don't think it's crucial. Like, we must have it. I've seen enough in the gym. You know, we didn't take this fight going, oh, we think Dillian's going to turn up in the same shape as Tete. We expect him to turn up as he turned up, in fantastic shape. So it would be nice, but I don't think it's a must.
And just to reflect on the finish, the couple of shots, the body shots, once Dillian had pulled his hands up high and then he switched to the body. It was just beautiful. They're beautiful, sinking, hurtful body shots. And then the final shot was fantastic.
Yeah, that's something that, like I said, he's got in the locker. I've seen him start walking guys down, beating them up, breaking them down, head and body. That's the sort of stuff that people haven't seen yet, walking guys down. But I've seen it, and he's got it in the locker. Little glimpse of it there, but yeah.
And finally, I asked Buddy McGirt, because I couldn't get to Dillian, I said, Buddy, did Dillian think he could continue? He said he did think he could continue, but he couldn't, because when he got up, he was unsteady, which is really good to hear.
I agree.
So do I. Ben, listen, thanks so much for your time. So I'm up in the ring now, Ronald. It's a little bit busy up here, a little bit crazy up here. I might try and just grab, if I can, Frank Warren. Also in the ring is Moses Itauma. It's very busy. I might try and get Joseph Parker. I've got Frank Warren. Frank, congratulations. I say congratulations. It's not just the finish, Frank. It's the poise, it's the control and how he did it.
How he did it, his temperament, his control, his composure. 20 years old, he fights better than I've seen guys who are at their peak. And he's not at his peak, he's 20 years of age. And he done a job on somebody we've seen at the best levels, giving the best fighters tough fights and winning tough fights.
I mean, some of those body shots when Dillian was covering his head, then whipping the headshots in, and then creating a room just about where you're standing to land that final shot. You can't teach that.
No, and he does. You know, you get guys, especially at that age, when they're throwing their shots, they're hurtful shots. Sometimes they fall in. He gets his distance all the time. The composure's there all the time. Brilliant.
Now, it's really early, I know. Now, before the fight, I said to you, Frank, if he comes through this fight, if he wins, would you put him in a world title fight? And you said to me straight away, without missing a beat, you went, depends how he wins. So, Frank, I'll put it to you again. Let's say that a title became vacant and you know, because of the Usyk situation, would you, after what we saw here tonight, would you, in theory, put Moses forward?
In theory, yeah, I would. I mean, you know, it's for a kid who's had 13 fights. It's
What do you do?
I mean, you've got to remember, and no senior bouts as an amateur
What was that head guard on?
without a head guard. None of, and you think about that, and you know I suppose what I look at, I've got to look at what Dillian's done. Look at what Dillian's done in his career, and the tough fights that Sanik's had, and how he dealt with them.
And that was just comfort. Okay, once again, the big thing that got me was the poise. Frank, I'm going to let you go because they're doing a group. No, you've got to do a group picture. I want you in a group picture with the Moses gang. And also, whilst you're over there, you can maybe point in my way. Sorry, you're not my runner, but if I could ask you to do, that'd be great. Francis, come here. Let's get Francis. Francis, how are you doing? First of all, Francis, I saw you, that look on your face. You got in the ring at the end. You didn't say anything. You just went, oh.
Do you know what? I think, you know, it's today. My heart was coming out my chest from about 6 o'clock this evening, and it was just a big relief. You know, I've never been animated at a fight ever, and yeah, of course it's a relief. I care about the guy. You know, this is more than sport. This is a relationship. But my God, can this kid fight?
You know what, you're Francis Warren. You're now managing a kid who isn't possibly the hottest prospect in boxing. He is without doubt the hottest prospect. That would have sent a message tonight, Francis, that would reverberate around the world.
Absolutely. Look at him. He's cool, calm, cold, and collected. He's the man. He's absolutely.
Can I get a word of him? Moses? Could 1 minute? So Moses is coming over. Just 20 seconds. Moses, congratulations. First of all, it was the poise. I mean, the balance, the movement as he was going down for you just to switch your feet when you hit him with a right hook. It's stuff I don't think you even know you're doing it. It's that good.
I know, because that's what I've been drilling for 12, 13 weeks. So I'll put on performance for you guys now. So it's who's next.
It is who's next. Now, I'm going to ask you this. In an ideal Moses Itauma world, in a fantasy world, who would it be next, and would it be this year?
The thing is, I don't want to call out Usyk because I don't believe that I deserve the opportunity, but the guys that do deserve the opportunity, I want to fight them lot. So maybe Caballero, maybe Joseph Parker, maybe them type of names.
It's been a special week, kid, isn't it?
Say that again?
It's been a special week.
Oh, man, I'm grateful.
So that's it, they're just going to go. You're going to allow yourself a holiday? Because a couple of years ago, you said you weren't going to have holidays.
It's hard, man, because like when I'm not doing what I'm meant to be doing, I get a little bit. I miss the gym. I feel like I'm not doing my purpose, but I feel like as of right now, gonna rest and then maybe be back in the gym.
And final question: when you caught him with that final short right hook, what did that feel like to you? Have you ever had a feeling like that before?
I didn't want it to be over just yet. I've trained hard for this, man. I didn't want it to go in the first round.
Well, it did, and they're going to carry on going in the first one. Moses, thanks for your time. You've been brilliant all week.
Thank you very much.
Moses Itauma. You know what, Ron? We've talked, Ronald and Richie, we've talked about how this kid, how poised he is. We've talked about how decent he is. We've talked about how humble he is. And even in a moment like that, even during that high drama, those high stakes, I'm just going to grab now, if I can, I'm going to pull him away from Michael Buffer. I'm going to grab Joseph Parker for 30 seconds, live on 5 Live. Big Joe. How are you? Live on 5 Live. Joe, he's a phenomenal kid, isn't he? We all know Moses Itauma is a good talent.
Great talent. It's before the fight we said it's either going to be a quick fight, but if it goes past 3 or 4 rounds, it could be a lot more challenging. He came out, he hunted, he put on a great display in terms of power, aggressive, and he also picked the shots.
You like the picking the shot bit, didn't you? That appealed to Joseph Parker. The fact that he picked his shots, you liked that, didn't you?
He picked the shots and he showed for a 20-year-old to be under the bright lights, he took the pressure on, and he looked good. He looked very good.
And the way I see it, at some point in the next 2 years, you and him will inevitably share a ring.
Oh, listen, we'd love to share a ring with him one day.
I know you would.
Yeah, we probably will. Everything's sort of heading towards that way, man. I'm not sure what he has next, but hopefully I can lock in a few fights, and then if it's all going well and good.
So Joe, listen, thanks for your time, and I really hope you get what you deserve, because even even talking this week to Moses, he said that you deserve your world title fight. Everyone in boxing knows you deserve your world title fight.
Thank you, Bunsey.
Joe, I'll speak to you later on. Big Joseph Parker there. Okay, I'm going to wander away now from ringside. I've spoken to everybody I need to, Ronald. I've got to just say one thing. Just get a little bit of summary from the pair of you. From you first, Rich. Even if you expected Moses Itauma to win, even if you thought he might win by a knockout, I don't think any of us believed it would be that clinical and he would remain and stay that calm.
No, exactly. I thought he'd win tonight, but I really thought that he'd go past the 6th round because he's never been over 6 rounds before. So I thought he would win the fight and maybe a stoppage later on in the contest. But the way he started there, I mean, it just shows that we have got a very special boxer on our hands here. Because if you look at the way he did it in the technique and the way he finished it, his opponent off, Dillian Whyte, who's a tough man, Dillian is.
He is.
But it was class because he set it up with his jab, he's in and out with his feet. He then switches the attack. The first shot, like we said, he's probably a little bit high on the head, and Dillian struggles with that one. But then he seizes that opportunity, he moves in, and then he's very clinical. The way he switched the attack downstairs, the right hooks downstairs,
savage.
They were cracking punches, and then the final right hook, it was fantastic in terms of his technique, a mid-range punch, the balance. He comes through with the speed and he just connects with Dillian Whyte's jaw. It was a tremendous punch indeed that finishes off a very tough opponent on paper. So yes, the way he's gone about it, I spoke to lots of people before this contest and most people thought Moses Itauma would win, but no one I spoke to thought that he would do it in the first round, and no one I spoke to thought they would do it in that fashion, knockout in the first round. Nobody.
And you know the interesting thing, and I was really pleased how honest Buddy McGirt was.
Yeah, tremendous.
Because Dillian was still complaining, shaking his head and looking.
He knew, didn't he? Buddy McGirt knew.
Buddy
deep down.
McGirt knew. Yeah. And you know what? And so he should know, because that's Buddy McGirt. He's a double world champion, and he's always been a very honest pro. Let's move on, Rich, and I hate to sort of just dismiss Dillian. We'll talk about Dillian later on. Maybe try and grab a word of him at some point, which we'll put out on the pod overnight or on Monday. But let's talk about Moses and that line from Frank Warren that he gave me earlier in the week, which was I'm not sure if I'd put him in for a world title fight. It depends how he wins. And even now he's still saying, let's have a look at it. Francis Warren may be a little bit more encouraging and wanting to get him into a world title fight. Ben Davison even hinting that he needs the rounds. Not necessarily, but it would be ideal. Rich, you work around fighters. Okay, in an ideal world, well, let's say the title became vacant. Would you stick him in immediately with Joseph Parker or Ajit Caballero or Martin Bakole or Anthony Joshua or Daniel Dubois if there was a vacant title?
I think you've got to, Steve, on that performance, because you stick Dillian Whyte in with any of those boxers, wouldn't you?
If Dillian Whyte had won tonight, you'd stick him in no problem,
Absolutely, 100%. So I think you've got to think about Moses Itauma. I think it's a nice problem for Francis Warren and Frank Warren to have, but it is a problem, isn't it? What do they do with him now? Because if a title does become vacant, do you put him in? I certainly would. I think the kid's got class, and I think the way he speaks, he's still got his feet on the ground. He's not bish bash bosh. He does it all behind his boxing, and yes, I think he'd be more than capable of going in and fighting for a 12-rounder against a decent opponent, obviously for a world title. I think because you've got to go on current form, and he's electric at the moment, and I'd put him in.
And the thing is, of course, that every single heavyweight, let's say there's 30 named big heavyweights, from Zhilei Zhang up or down, whichever way you want to look at it, there's about 30 names that you can pluck out of a hat who are fairly familiar. At least 10 or 12 of them, or maybe even 15, have fought for world titles. All of those will want to get into the business. Because the one thing I did see in Joseph Parker's eyes when I talked to him wasn't a great fear. He was like, I'd love to fight him. I'd love to fight him. So people will be on the phone now. Francis Warren, who's still in the ring doing an interview with DAZN, his phone will be pinging in his pocket. Frank Warren's phone will be pinging in his pocket. People want to be in with Moses Itauma.
I think you've got to have an extremely good chin if you're in against Itauma, because he's so skillful. He's going to catch you at some point, and like I say, he sets up those bigger shots behind his boxing. And people like Joseph Parker, who's a good fighter himself and who's a tough man. But so was Dillian Whyte. We spoke about how tough Dillian was, but he just he couldn't respond and get through that barrage of punches. So he's very special, Moses Itauma. But yes, I think people like Zheli Zhang, I think Parker, Joseph Parker, I think would be an excellent fight for Moses Itauma. And I think at the end of the day, the way he's heading, Steve, because what do you do with him? How is he going to tread water now, waiting for if it's a world title shot? If Alexander Usyk does vacate one of those titles, then he's got to be in the running. And yeah, there'll be a few fighters out there that would jump at the chance to box him, but I tell you what, they better tread very, very carefully, because he's a special talent.
He is indeed a special talent. I've been joined here at ringside by one of our special talents. Barry Jones is here. Barry, it may have been a situation where we all expected him to win, but it wasn't just a knockdown. It was the poise, the control, the viciousness and the accuracy.
Yes, we all expect him to win, and to win early. That's the truth, but not as easy as that.
Yes.
And Dillian is not past his sell-by date. We all knew that. We didn't know how much, and we still don't know, because with most of the time, and we say this all the time about real quality fighters, never rushing your work, but getting them out there early.
Yeah.
And that's what he did tonight. I mean,
that's easier said than done, isn't it?
Well, of course.
Especially in a moment like this and in a fight like this.
Especially when you're a young man with all that exuberance of youth and wanted to show off, and the excitement of hurt. When he hit him on the temple, first of all, and he hurt him. And even then, he threw 2 shots. Before he took a half a step back. Nothing came back, and he advanced again. And before he advanced, he feinted with his front foot. I mean, the thing of all that, while you got someone going in the biggest fight of your career, is madness.
Well, fun enough, I said to him, Moses, I'm not sure you know what you're doing. He went, no, I do. They're drills, they're drills.
I mean, we spoke to him in the week, and speaking to him, the way he dissects stuff in his brain, I just went, there's a guy who listens in the corner, but can think for himself. Yeah. I mean, that's a danger. So listen to this. He listens to instructions. He thinks for himself in the ring. He's got the power of a heavyweight and the movement of a middleweight. I mean, everyone should just go home now.
Barry,
you're done.
20 seconds. Would you put him in a world title fight next if one became vacant? Would you put him in next?
Because
Frank Warren hasn't committed to that.
He wouldn't disgrace himself, but no, because he got a long lifetime of a career there. There's loads of fighters in that top 15, top 10 that he could fight and beat who are good names for more experience. So when he does fight the number 1 in the world, he's ready to take over.
Barry, thank you very much. Richie, just give me 15 seconds. Tell me what you think you saw tonight.
Tremendous performance. I didn't think he would finish it the way he did in such spectacular fashion. It was pinpoint accuracy with his punches, speed, power, technique. He had it all. A tremendous performance from Moses Itauma.
It was indeed a tremendous performance from Moses Itauma. All night long, all week long, I've been telling listeners on 5 Live that we were going into the unknown. We weren't quite sure what Moses had. We weren't quite sure what Dillian Whyte had left. Well, we found out tonight that Moses has got an awful lot. We have seen the new prince of heavyweight boxing crowned tonight. Coming up, it's Stephen Nolan. That's after the latest BBC News.